What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Grave Media. This is Josh here, checking in on you out there in YouTube land. YouTube like we do pretty much every single night during October. I don't know if you can see, maybe it's this way. There's like a week left until Halloween. This month is, does anybody else get Halloween? It's not buyer's remorse. It's like, it's almost over. I waited all year. I have a real problem with that. And then my birthday's always a week, later. And growing up, I was just like, oh my God, I love Halloween. I love my birthday. I cannot wait. And then as you get older, it's just like this Halloween is going quicker than I ever wanted it to. I hope you're here for 4 more found footage flicks. That's what I got. The intro to this video was a real man with a real crime in a real place. And the murder weapon was Armor All Tire Shine. This dude had just been pushed to his limits. He'd had enough and he snapped. I'm sorry you had to see that. Thanks for being here. Let's check out the next 4 found footage flicks I want you to watch. So before we get into the 4 found footage films, let's talk about 4 reasons why I personally love found footage. Reason number 1, realism. When you're watching found footage as the viewer, you can see what you might be capturing on camera. And instead of viewing it as like, this could really happen, this is actually me, I think I could be making this movie. If I just had a camera, it could be a cell phone, some creepy music, a couple of friends to jump out, and maybe some cool special effects that I create, and some masking. I could make my own horror movie. I've always thought that was really appealing, and the authenticity that you feel with found footage, it's just like the most emotional, the most raw, because it's the easiest to do, and I feel like people can really express themselves, and it just lends itself to cool ideas. Things captured on camera just brings you right into the action. Films like the Blair Witch Project, people thought that was real. They thought that was real footage, and overnight, it contributed to this crazy phenomenon. The success, I was there opening night. That sense of authenticity makes every scare feel personable and relatable. The Blair Witch Project, there's a bunch of horror movies that changed my life, but the Blair Witch Project was it 1999 or 1999? I went to that theater, dude. I was scared out of my wits. I thought this was the coolest thing. I've been following it on AOL. Beep, you got mail. Right back in the 90s, I was loading the message boards. I was watching the little clips. I was like, I gotta see this film of what happened to these kids. My hands are up. I'm into this. In Burkittsville, Maryland, what happened? How do I see it? This was pre-internet sleuths. We all wanted to be a part of this case. It blew me away. I love the Blair Witch Project. To this day, this is the granddaddy. One of the best found footage films ever, and I know nothing happens, but if you don't follow those 3 actors through the woods and not think this film is an endurance test. I love it. I'm cold, I'm damp, I'm in the sleeping bag. I can see all the wooden things being built. I can hear the rocks being thrown. My name is Josh. Josh! Right? Him howling. Mike, dude, Josh missing his tongue, going into the actual witches, the house where the dude's forced into the corner. I love all the lore. I've got a long video about this. The Blair Witch Project changed my life. One of my favorite films of all time. Found footage, man, that's my first point of why I really love found footage. And the next one on my list, the Blair Witch Project. What's next? The second reason that I love found footage is the suspense, the fear of the unknown, and the ability of found footage to just build tension and dread where things are happening off screen and you're not sure what's going on, because the camera has this ability to just kind of pan, zoom in, freak out, cuts. You're watching something, and you're watching usually a crime, you're watching some sort of folklore, you're watching mysteries, you're trying to piece the puzzles together, but you don't have it yet. And it's a trip to think that I'm actually watching something that happened to these poor people. So that just creates this sense of the unknown, dread, and never have I felt the dread of a found footage film like the Poughkeepsie tapes. This is one banger of a film. This thing, when did this come out? 2008? I've got a long video that I just put out on this, but the Poughkeepsie tapes had this lore and had this legend, had this kind of shot on film, VHS, camcorder. People thought this was a real crime, and when it first came out, there was all this hype for it, then it just disappeared. Then it started to slowly appear on Sci-Fi, or I forget the other channel, and then they just pulled it, and you couldn't find it forever. All of a sudden, Scream Factory puts this out, and it kind of starts to grow legs. This is a film not to be fucked with. This is a film that has so much tension and so much like despair and dread, especially what happens to our main protagonist at the end. It's traumatizing, man. I feel so bad for her. It's like Stockholm syndrome, where the serial killer abuses his victim so bad that he makes her need him to live, and then it just all falls apart. Heartbreaking film, crazy watching him just taunt his victim's parents, the mask that he puts on. The Poughkeepsie tapes is one of those films that can get under my skin still, even though that I know it's kind of like a pseudo fake snuff film. A lot of people kind of criticize the disturbing and, maybe even some of the footage like being with the color timing, like the purple and the green. They should have just kept it with just straight VHS static. Sure, that's all fair, dude. But the Poughkeepsie tape still rips, and it still has this ability to like butcher its victims. I love films, first of all, found footage, where they go back in time and they're like, the killer was where, and it's got like the little dude, and they don't show his face and they kind of blur the image. Like, maybe that's the unsolved mysteries, the cops, the America's Most Wanted of the 90s, 80s kids when we grew up. That just tickles my buyer bone, man. It makes me want to immediately watch a found footage flick. I love that. That's probably why I love like documentaries and stuff in the first place. But when it's showing the police and they're like going through the crime, like that, for me, that's not boring. I actually think that's super interesting, and I buy it. I know a lot of people don't like the acting. I do. Give me that cheese, man. Give me that sleaze. Give me that butcher. The Poughkeepsie tapes. I mean, this is a weird film, man. It's got the ability to kind of like get under your skin, creep into your bones. I love it so much. This is a great version from Scream Factory. What it says, Orion on it. You gotta love Orion. Brutal, dude. Poughkeepsie tapes, my second reason, dread, suspense. The Poughkeepsie tapes has tons and tons of dread. Excellent film. Number 2, Poughkeepsie tapes. The third reason why I love found footage are the unexpected twists. Found footage films are notorious for shocking you, throwing you a surprise, throwing a wrench into what you're seeing, because you have to see what they present. This is the actual crime footage a lot of the time, or sometimes you'll be watching a movie within a movie, which is a great twist, and you can see people react in real time. Nobody does that better than the greatest video nasty of all time, the most shocking film of all time, the band, the reigning, defending UF's Ruggero Deodatos, Cannibal, Holocaust, the greatest of all time when it comes to found footage, the most shocking, the most disturbing, the most vile, all of that in a bag of chips. This is the video nasty, one of the most hated films on the planet. Now, why do I love it? Because I could never watch it. Every time I wanted to watch Cannibal Holocaust, this is another one I've got a long form video on down there. It was never in stock. I would go to the video store. I would be so excited to see it because everybody's like, you can't even watch this film. It's so bad. When I finally got my hands on that videotape in Bend, Oregon, I paid a $50 deposit fee for a VHS. I paid the actual price it would cost for them to buy a new one to rent out. I know I'm using my hands. I remember being like, drunk or stoned or something, and like actually walking down to the Pilot Butte, the video store, picking up that VHS, opening it, being like, dude, this is the real deal. Me and my buddy Mikey start smacking each other. We get home, we put this thing on, we have a couple of pops, and we go on to just be disturbed, disgusted, fascinated, entranced, just totally sucked into this world of the Amazon. And you're welcome, the Green Inferno. Eli Roth obviously took every inspiration and reimagining with the Green Inferno, which I love. But the Cannibal, this is the granddaddy of them all, man. Cannibal Holocaust is a mean film. It's a mean-spirited film. Say what you will about animal cruelty. I am not a fan of that. I know that there's people that will not watch this film. They watched it one time because that's so bad for them to even watch. What I think would be a little more passable was if you were just watching the, cannibalistic tribes and they were maybe preparing their own food. What's so disturbing and what's so bad about this film is the actual people. It's the people going to make the film that are doing crappy things, right? It's not just like the villages that they're going to. And I think that really, really ruins the film for a lot of people. It doesn't ruin it for me. I'm a Cannibal Holocaust defender. I think that Cannibal Holocaust is I mean, it's a brilliant film. I think that it says a lot. I think that the director got into a lot of trouble and obviously had to prove that these people were not actually murdered. The way that he does some of those effects and some of that gory stuff, I'm always looking for cuts. I'm looking to see how we did it. Like, the Italians, man, the Italian gore is something else, like the way that they shoot it. This 88 release here, Dolby Vision, 4K, this looks so amazing. I think Cannibal Holocaust, you know, it's rough because of the animal cruelty, but I think that this is an incredible film. I think that it needs to be watched. I have a bunch of copies of it. I give them away sometimes because I just think that it's that good. I think it's that shocking still, and I think it's really smart the way that it does it. I get a lot of shit online. I don't mind. I can take it. Cannibal Holocaust for me is the greatest of all time for a reason. It set the standard, and that standard is pretty damn high. Still gets under my skin to this day. And can we talk about the music, the soundtrack, that intro panning shot where they're going over the green fields, the green inferno, the river, the Brasilia, everything about that is beautiful. And the music playing is something else. If you can't tell, I love this film. Cannibal Holocaust Defender to the death. Finally, and the fourth reason why I love found footage so much and why I'm really just a found footage junkie is its creepy connection to reality. Found footage has the ability to take you into haunted spaces, haunted places, haunted hotels, haunted motels, urban folklore, urban legends, cursed objects, cursed places, cryptozoology, right? Myths, things to look out for, all that kind of stuff. Like, if it can happen to you, found footage has the ability to just make it seem real. They've got just a treasure trove of actual events, actual spaces and places and times where things just got out of hand. Go look up something like the Bell Witch, the Jersey Devil, right? Bigfoot, Willow Creek, alien abduct. They've got so much at their disposal, and they have just endless ideas to make found footage films effective and scary because so many of them are tied to reality. And my favorite type of found footage films usually deal with haunted places, haunted hotels in particular. My favorite found footage film of all time, I cut that 3 times right. I could not say it in a row. I've been working on this for a long time, guys. I love found footage. My number 1 right now is Hell House LLC. What you're looking at here, what you're looking at is the Hell House LLC box set, the complete collection 1 through 4 complete. They're making a new one next year. Hate it when they do that, but Hell House LLC is a scary film. It's a film that has the ability to get under my skin from the very beginning. Just off the record, okay, this is just Josh. He's just gonna talk to you. I'm just gonna tell you the straight dope about me. I love going to haunted amusement parks. I love going to haunted attractions, creepy hotels. I love to ghost hunt. I love EVP. I love cemeteries. I love to be out in the thick of it. I like to be in the shit, as they call it. I want to find a ghost. I think that stuff's so fascinating. I have a real just love for that kind of stuff. And Hell House has, I think, a perfect story, right? We're watching almost like a cursed bunch of videotapes. We've got a news camera reporter that decides that they're going to cover the Abaddon Hotel. Abaddon is named after a biblical place in the Bible that's based off of a demon, so it's already cursed from the beginning. The Abaddon Hotel was also the site of a bunch of grisly murders and a bunch of horrible things that happened to this family, Tully and the Carmichaels, and we've got this group that wants to go in there because they know legends of the place and they want to make a haunted attraction. They've been doing it in other parts of New York, and they're going to go upstate into the woods, and they're going to get into the nitty gritty, and they're going to try to have the biggest, best haunted attraction, haunted house ever in New York State. And unfortunately for them, things start to go wrong. Things have been happening in this hotel for a long time probably, and they decide to play with fire, and what you see, I think, is just a masterpiece. Other found footage films, I think, have scarier moments where it's like, Ganjam Haunted Asylum, Wreck, like there's a ton of them that just have these like jump scares that are really, really good. Hell House has one of the best jump scares of all time when dude's in his room and there's that female just sitting on the floor, just kind of rocking, staring at him, and her eyes are just white. Incredible scene. It's got, if it doesn't have the scariest scenes in found footage, I think that it has this ability to build tension, build the lore of the hotel itself, It goes back in time and it uses kind of like recreations and people talking about it. It has an excellent sense of music that bum, 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 right, and just kind of it just unnerves me. It has this weird feeling. I'm like, I don't like this, but I'm fascinated by it. This is one of my favorite movies. It's such a sleeper pick. I know it's starting to get really popular right now. I don't know why I'm pointing. I'm pointing again. I love this film, you guys. I think it's so incredible. I love how we get to see kind of like the behind the scenes of the actual haunt, and we get to see how they're setting up cameras, walkie-talkies. People don't want to go down in the basement, and of course the dreaded clowns that are down in that basement that they have the ability to animate themselves, move to the side. You don't know where they're coming from. The one dude, his face is, I mean, I don't have a fear of clowns, but I kind of don't like these clowns because they move. It's so awesome, dude. I love how the basement just has a vibe. People that go and visit afterwards, they're afraid to go down there. They can see the blood spill, they can see the splatter, they can see the handprints, they can see the piano, they can tell that something really bad happened here. There's ghosts, there's specters, there's malevolent forces. That basement, whew, dude, it's the real deal. And then when they finally go upstairs to apartment 2C or that hotel room, and you see what really happened, and it's just that oh my God, what a moment, dude. I think that it's perfect. I love the way that it's filmed. I love how there's a little bit of glitching and camera angles. I just wish sometimes that it would, because it feels so authentic, sometimes I do wish that they would just hold steady for a second so you could really get a shots of those spirits like on film. You get a lot of like it's just choppy and it's thrown together. Lots of screaming. It's disorienting. Very similar to the houses October built. Kind of feel bad for not throwing this right next to it, but this I think is a superior film. I love the characters. I think that they just seem like regular people that want to scare up some money, scare up some scares, and really kind of set the market. And you're rooting for them the whole time, even though they kind of bicker and they're a little pervy with each other. All of a sudden things start to go wrong and the jump scares start to mount, the tension. There's something so unnerving about Hell House LLC, man. That girl right there. You know what I'm talking about. Awesome creation, awesome origin, great story, great effects. I think it's perfect. If you haven't seen Hell House LLC, get out and watch it. This umbrella set here, of course, has parts 2 and 3. 2 is a little forgettable, 3 is a little bit better. And then Hell House, the Carmichael Manor, Hell House LLC Origins came out, I think, last year on Halloween. This is a damn good movie. This has some legitimate scares in it, builds tension if you know the whole story and you're following along. This has a lot of great plot points. It like really sets up the rest of the films. I love LLC, Hell House, man. I think it's so awesome, guys. Dropping shit. I'm a big fan, if you can't tell. This thing was like $85, I think, on Umbrella. I believe it's sold out, but if you can pick it up, it's region free, so they all play here. You get the whole set, tons of special features. This thing rips, dude. I love found footage. I love you guys. Thanks so much for hanging in there for 2 nights. If you want to see more from me, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, talk some shit down there. Send it to a friend, send it to an enemy, and then follow me on social media. Maybe I'll do some behind the scenes stuff tomorrow. I've got a Halloween party going down. Can't wait to talk to you again. Take real good care of yourselves. Cheers.